Hello everyone and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Ham and we're live in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. where we're covering all the top stories from Washington to other global capitals around the world. Stay with us over the next few minutes as we get you caught up on the latest news of the day. But before that, here's a look at the latest headlines. Thailand launches airstrikes on Cambodian military targets as Cambodia fires back with rockets and artillery, killing at least 11 in a sharp escalation of the long-running border dispute between the two neighbors. Russia and Ukraine trade air attacks along each other's Black Sea coast hours after direct talks between the two failed to make progress towards ending the nearly 3.5-year war. India's aviation regulator reportedly issues a stern warning to Air India, threatening enforcement action over alleged breaches of safety standards related to crew fatigue management and training. Greece says it will deploy a salvage vessel to the Red Sea to respond to maritime accidents and protect seafarers and global shipping after 2 Greek ships were targeted by the Yemen-based Houthis earlier this month. And South Korea says Friday's trade talks with the United States over President Trump's 25% tariffs have been postponed after U.S. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent pulls out due to a scheduling conflict. We begin here in Washington, where the controversy surrounding Jeffrey Epstein is refusing to go away. And the latest news reports reveal that President Donald Trump's name did in fact appear in Justice Department files relating to Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender who died in prison back in 2019. Now, according to reports, Attorney General Pam Bondi informed the president during a routine meeting in May. The meeting was also attended by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And they said that his name, along with several other high-profile figures, had resurfaced during a re-examination of documents that had not been made public before. Now, Bondi also reportedly told the president that the files included child pornography and sensitive victim information that should not be disclosed. Now, to be sure, it's not clear how significant the references to the president, in fact, are. And also, to be clear, being named in these documents is not evidence of any criminal activity. Now, the White House has lashed out at the media reports, and a spokesman for the president has denied them and in turn called it fake news.
The fact is that the president kicked him out of his club for being a creep. This is nothing more than a continuation of the fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media, just like the Obama-Russia-Gate scandal, which President Trump was right about.
And in a statement, Bondi and Blanche also noted that there was nothing in the files that warranted further investigations.
Nothing in the files warranted further investigation or prosecution, and we have filed a motion in court to unseal the underlying grand jury transcripts. As part of our routine briefing, we made the president aware of the findings.
Meanwhile, a federal judge in South Florida denied a Justice Department request to unseal grand jury transcripts related to Epstein. Now, to put this into perspective, the new details come as the Trump administration faces mounting pressure to disclose more information about the sex offender. And while campaigning last year, the president promised to release the files, but the U.S. Justice Department concluded earlier this month that there was not a basis to continue the Epstein investigation. Now, this triggered a fierce backlash among the president's MAGA base over what they've long seen as a cover-up of Epstein's crimes and high-level connections. The revelation also comes amid escalating tensions between the president and the Wall Street Journal. In fact, just last week, he filed a $10 billion defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal and its parent company, News Corp, owned by media tycoon Rupert Murdoch. The White House subsequently also banned one of the Journal's reporters from Air Force One for an upcoming trip to Scotland. But the controversy has now spilled over to the Capitol when on Wednesday a House Oversight Subcommittee voted to subpoena the Justice Department for files in the Epstein case, with 3 Republicans joining Democrats to back the move.
how do you traffic 1,000 kids and only have one accomplice? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And I'm for full transparency of all pedophiles. I'm for making sure that we go after those who've raped kids, who've done the worst of the worst. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice is also seeking to interview Ghislaine Maxwell, the accomplice of Epstein, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted of sex trafficking of minors on behalf of Epstein.
At the direction of Attorney General Bondi, I have communicated with counsel for Ms. Maxwell to determine whether she would be willing to speak with prosecutors from the department. I anticipate meeting with Ms. Maxwell, Indiana, the coming days. Until now, no administration on behalf of the department had inquired about her willingness to meet with the government. That changes now.
And reports suggest the Justice Department is expected to meet Maxwell later today. And the White House has dismissed the renewed focus on the Epstein files, claiming it distracts from the administration's record and plays directly into Democratic hands. In fact, Donald Trump has also tried to shift the focus to former President Barack Obama, accusing him of treason and sabotaging his first presidency.
But remember this, Obama cheated on the election. And we have it cold, hard, blue, and it's getting even more so because the stuff that's coming in is not even believable. So, and you should mention that every time they give you a question that's not appropriate, just say, oh, by the way, Obama cheated on the election. You'll watch the camera turn off instantly.
So with the backlash growing, several questions remain, like why was the president's name actually in the files? What exactly did they contain? And why is the Justice Department still reluctant to disclose more? And now moving to Florida, where a disturbing traffic stop has sparked outrage and demands for justice. And the video, which is at the center of it all, is hard to ignore. A 22-year-old black man identified as William McNeil Jr. was punched, dragged out of his car, and thrown to the ground by officers from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office on February 19th during a traffic stop. However, the incident only gained public attention after McNeil posted video footage on social media in late July, 5 months after it happened. Now, the video taken from inside McNeil's car shows him calmly questioning why he was stopped. He asked to speak to a supervisor and repeatedly told officers he had done nothing wrong. But as he speaks, an officer suddenly smashes the driver's side window and punches him directly in the face. Another officer is seen yanking McNeil out of the vehicle and slamming him to the ground. Then several deputies surround him.
Exit the vehicle now! Exit the vehicle!
Step out. What is your reason?
Step out now.
All right.
Get on the ground.
No, don't.
Get on the ground.
Step out now. All right.
Get on the ground. Put your hands behind your back. I'm resisting. Hands behind your back.
What do you mean? I was putting my hands behind my back. I was on wrong now, man.
Civil rights advocates, including attorney Harry Daniels, condemned the officer's actions and demanded the arresting officer be fired. McNeil, on the other hand, speaking publicly for the first time at a church in Jacksonville, said that he was just scared and reiterated that he did not do anything wrong.
That day, I just really wanted to know, why I was getting pulled over and why I needed to step out the car when I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I was really just scared. Yeah, that's it.
Now, according to court records, McNeil was charged with resisting arrest, marijuana possession, driving on a suspended license, not wearing a seatbelt, and not having his headlights on during bad weather. He then pleaded guilty to 2 charges and served 2 days in jail. However, the body camera footage released by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office shows an officer telling McNeil he was being stopped for not wearing a seatbelt and not using his headlights, to which McNeil responded that it was daylight and the weather was clear. He asked to see the law and requested a supervisor, then locked his door and refused to exit the vehicle.
Inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. 2 things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight.
3,
I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement?
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
77-35, I'm cooperating with the driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
In this case, the cell phone camera footage that began viral circulation over the weekend does not comprehensively capture the circumstances surrounding this incident, and that is to be expected. Part of that stems from the distance and perspective of the recording cell phone camera.
A second police officer confirmed at least 6 punches were delivered to McNeil's leg during the arrest, and the officer on duty claimed McNeil was reaching for a knife located on the floorboard, and McNeil's lawyers have denied these claims.
You have to look at that video and say, this does not reflect our training, our policies, or our values. And you need to terminate that officer immediately. Immediately. Because as Attorney Daniels and I deliberated over this matter, if you don't terminate this officer and you condone this type of police excessive force, then it sends a message to all of the other police officers on the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office team.
Now, McNeil's legal team also revealed that he suffered a tooth fracture, a concussion, a traumatic brain injury, and memory loss as a result of the incident. Further defending the actions, however, the Jacksonville sheriff described the use of force ugly, but not necessarily unlawful, adding that an internal review is underway. He added that the arresting officer has in fact been stripped of his law enforcement powers for now, but the state's attorney's office found no criminal wrongdoing by any of the officers.
Will neither defend nor commend Officer Bauer's response to resistance until all the facts are known and the investigation is completed. However, as the leader of this agency, I will not remain silent while important facts and information are buried to advance an anti-police agenda.
McNeil, a biology student and musician at Livingston College in North Carolina, has been praised by his family and university for his strength and composure. And now, with a viral video and a community watching closely, all eyes are now on Jacksonville's next move. And now turning to the Middle East, in Israel, hundreds of ultra-Orthodox Jewish men blocked a major highway in Jerusalem on Wednesday to protest against enlisting for military service. Protesters dressed in traditional black coats and hats blocked the main entrance to Jerusalem and a key intersection in another city, voicing opposition to the arrest of 3 community members accused of deserting mandatory military service. They also chanted religious slogans and held banners. Take a look.
Because for us to go to the army is ruining our lives, and like people here are screaming, we'd rather die than go to the army. Because going to the army is against our spiritual life, and that's what's important for us. And today we're gonna try again to prove that nothing will break us.
Visuals from the scene also showed scuffles between the protesters and police, who were trying to move the demonstrators away to clear the road for traffic.
I think it's terrible. It's embarrassing that in a modern democracy state, that in 2025, people can't keep their religions, and we're forced to go to an army that is brainwashing, and we can't keep our religions.
Now, the demonstrations were in direct response to a controversial conscription bill, one that would end long-standing exemptions for ultra-Orthodox men from mandatory military service in Israel. For decades, members of Israel's ultra-Orthodox community have been excused from military duty to pursue full-time religious study, which they believe is their most important duty. This arrangement originates from a 1948 decision by then Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, who exempted at least 400 students to preserve Jewish scholarship after the Holocaust. Now, in recent years, the issue has become a national talking point, and as the Gaza war rages on and the army calls for more recruits, public pressure has grown on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to rein in the exemptions, which today apply to a community that makes up over 13% of Israel's population. Last year, the Israeli Supreme Court ordered an end to the exemption.
While people are shedding their blood and many soldiers are fighting for months and months, including reservists who are leaving their families and are not part of the regular army, but rather coming to fight as citizens to come fight for Israel. And they fight 300, 400 days, not seeing their kids, their wives, while the Ultra-Orthodox are completely avoiding service to the state while enjoying the money of the state.
Now, earlier this month, the Israeli army announced that it would begin sending draft notices to 54,000 ultra-Orthodox Jewish men who were previously exempt from military service. This was further reinforced by Benjamin Netanyahu.
We can lead a process, not one of provocation or internal conflict, but one that mobilizes all the forces within the Jewish society to truly preserve our state and protect our people.
And now the move has sent shockwaves within the Israeli Prime Minister's coalition. In fact, last week, several parties exited Netanyahu's coalition over the dispute, and their exit has effectively stripped the coalition of a parliamentary majority, potentially paralyzing the legislative process. In fact, the political instability comes at a pivotal time for Israel, which is negotiating a Gaza ceasefire proposal with Hamas, while also facing internal protests to end the war and get back the remaining hostages. So as the Netanyahu government walks a tightrope between mounting military demands and pressure from the ultra-Orthodox allies, the battle over conscription has returned to the center of Israel politics with no clear resolution in sight. A viral conspiracy has exploded into an international legal battle. French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte have filed a defamation lawsuit against right-wing U.S. commentator Candace Owens. And at the center of the suit is Owens' repeated claim that Brigitte Macron was born a male, a rumor the Macrons call false, cruel, and damaging. Now, the case filed in Delaware accuses Owens of launching a global smear campaign to grow her podcast audience. In fact, despite repeated legal warnings, Owens continued to mock the French First Lady and stood by her statements. The lawsuit now tests the limits of free speech and defamation. Our next story has more.
French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte Macron have filed a lawsuit against American right-wing influencer Candace Owens, accusing her of spreading a bizarre and damaging conspiracy that France's First Lady was actually born a man. It was filed on July 23rd in Delaware Superior Court. In more than 200 pages, the lawsuit accuses Owens of orchestrating a campaign of global humiliation based on the fringe rumor that Brigitte Macron's real name is Jean-Michel Tonneau, which is actually the name of her older brother. Now, according to the complaint, Owens twisted facts, mocked appearances, and relentlessly dissected the Macrons' marriage to turn them into characters in a grotesque fantasy designed to stir outrage and grow her audience. In fact, her podcast with millions of listeners has featured entire episodes focused on Brigitte Macron, including a video series titled Becoming Brigitte. In fact, in March 2024, she even declared she would stake her entire professional reputation on her belief that Brigitte is male. Now, the Macrons say they gave her every chance to walk it back. They claim Owens was served with 3 formal retraction demands. All were ignored. And when Brigitte reportedly refused, Owens repeated requests for an interview. The podcaster turned up the volume, ridiculing the French First Lady and even called her a pervert. Candace Owens also shared a post which called the lawsuit a PR blunder. She went beyond the gender-related conspiracy and accused Emmanuel Macron of being placed in power via a secret CIA plot.
You are officially a very goofy man, Brigitte. But I got to give it to you. You've definitely got balls. Fire everybody around you, and I mean literally everyone around you who told you that this was a good idea, that this was a very good idea for you to be the first sitting first lady of a country to file a lawsuit against a journalist of another country.
Then, in a joint statement through their lawyers, the Macrons made their position clear. The podcast series spread verifiably false and devastating lies, including that the Macrons are blood relatives committing incest.
This was never about journalism. This was about harassment, cruelty, and a calculated effort to provoke pain and boost her brand. We gave her every opportunity to back away from these claims, but she refused. It is our earnest hope that this lawsuit will set the record straight and end this campaign of defamation once and for all.
But the courtroom terrain won't be easy to navigate. In the United States, the bar for defamation involving public figures is sky high. Thanks to the New York Times versus Sullivan precedent, the Macrons must now prove actual malice. That Owens knew the claims were false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. Now that's no small task, and legal scholars are skeptical.
I think that President Macron is going to have a very difficult time with this libel suit. And the reason for that is really simple. Under U.S. law, public officials are required to prove actual malice, knowledge of falsity, reckless disregard for the truth.
Owens, on the other hand, unsurprisingly, is already casting herself as the victim. Her spokesperson called the lawsuit an attack on the First Amendment by a foreign government, framing Owens as a lone truth-teller battling the elite. And now, she's facing off against the Elysee Palace. As lawyers prepare for war and podcast episodes keep dropping, one question remains louder than the rest. What happens when conspiracy collides with presidential power, and the courtroom becomes the battleground?
And finally, it looks like the Hollywood chapter of Harry and Meghan's fairy tale is heading for a dramatic season finale. And spoiler alert, Netflix isn't renewing. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex, once streaming royalty with a $100 million crown jewel of a deal, are now finding themselves on the wrong end of the algorithm. So is the Montecito dream turning into a royal mess? Grab your popcorn, because this drama comes without a palace, but with plenty of intrigue.
Once upon a time in Montecito, a duke and duchess dreamt of Hollywood stardom. There were camera crews, mansion backdrops, lifestyle tips, and a $100 million Netflix deal. But fast forward to 2025, it seems the Sussex sparkle may have lost its Netflix shine, and possibly their streaming paycheck too. According to reports, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are teetering on the edge of a financial cliff, maybe even a marital one. This is after their megabucks Netflix deal reportedly fizzled out like season's Suits reboot. Public interest has apparently waned faster than Markle's lifestyle brand restocks, and their contest is, according to reports, well lit but flat. Ouch. Netflix is reportedly ghosting both of them. Their $100 million deal, once hailed as the power couple's ticket to independent relevance, will not be renewed when it expires in September. To be fair, not all was doom and gloom. Their 2022 docuseries Harry and Meghan Did Break Records dominated the gossip cycle for weeks. Markle's show With Love Meghan debuted in March and quickly slid into the streaming abyss. It landed at a yawn-worthy number 383 with just 5.3 million views in 6 months. And just when things couldn't get more awkward, enter stats for Polo Harry's pet project. It was watched by a mere 50,000 people, ranking in at a spectacularly tragic number 3,436. Even that squirrel in The Crown probably did better. According to reports, Netflix is also changing strategy. They're reportedly stepping away from mega deals, which means the Duke and Duchess aren't being personally snubbed. They are just caught in the latest episode of Streaming Wars Budget Edition. And yet, Markle isn't done. Reports say season 2 of With Love Meghan has been filmed and is ready to hit the screens this year. The show will reportedly feature American model Chrissy Teigen as the guest star. So what now for the royal rebels of Montecito? Bankruptcy? Divorce? A GoFundMe for their $29 million mansion's maintenance? Only time will tell. But for now, it seems Harry and Markle's Netflix love story is ending not with a bang, but with a very expensive lit whimper.
That's going to do it for us today. From all of us here in Washington, we certainly thank all of you for tuning in. We hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks everyone for watching.